Hey man,
Hey Nathan, how are you?
good. How's everything going over there?
Good. Doing well. It's kind of calm. I mean, it's crazy calm, which is nice. Crazy
Nice.
meaning everyone's really focused, so it's quiet.
Yeah.
Kind of
Did
cool.
you get your videos done by the way? We talked about them earlier this week or last week about the onboarding videos. Did you kind of
Yeah,
nail
it's
that?
funny. I actually changed my mind about how to do that. So
Oh,
I decided that what was better was to record a 30-second. Like I actually don't see. I haven't really seen this done, so I kind of wanted to try this. Just a 30-second me talking into the camera. Hey, thanks for signing up for Basecamp. Hey, I'm Jason, the CEO. Thanks for signing up. I'm glad you're here. Whatever I'm just gonna say. Quick, sort of really quick 1 or 2 sentence explanation of Basecamp, and then say, hey, we've got a tour set up for you. Down below me, there's a button. Click that button. You'll take the tour. It'll take you just a minute or two, and then we can get going. And then you can explore your own account. So the point is that like it's more of a shopkeeper. Like someone walks in your shop, you're like, hey, welcome to my shop. And then what I decided was that a still tour, but only 1 or 2 screens, is a better way to absorb the information that I want to share than trying to stream it or fit it all into a short video, because I want people to be able to absorb it in the moment. Like I want people to be able to sit with that for a second and like look at it and like get it and read it shortly and then go, okay, I got that, and then move on. Versus a video, I'd be talking about it and there'd be things sliding by because I'm trying to get it done in a quick amount of time. And I just didn't want to go that way. Like I saw a recent new product introduction video from Asana, that was like it was so well produced, but it also, in my opinion, didn't say anything. It was one of those sort of, and I've been seeing a lot of these where there's like this sort of very, very visual, very well produced short films, basically, almost. But at the end, I come away like I didn't really get anything. I didn't get anything from it. I didn't pick anything up from it. So I just want to do like a
yeah.
one-to-one, like welcome, and then here's like one picture. This picture will explain everything, and you can sit on the picture and look at it as long as you want, or you can be like, I got it, I'm out of here. But you can kind of do it on your own time, and then so anyway, that's the change I'm going to make,
Cool.
that we're making. So I've been working on that picture. I've got like five variations of that picture, and I'm trying to figure out the right one to roll with. So
Yeah. And
anyway.
and so I'm also curious about that. So for the pictures, are you taking screenshots of the app itself and
Yes.
then okay.
So you know how we'll show BC3 in a minute, but you know how there's a grid of six tools if
Yep.
you want a full six. I'm shrinking that down really small, almost to like their icons. They're like
Hmm.
little tiny icons, and I'm drawing lines off of each one, pointing to a really quick explanation of each one. Like campfire, we need to hash stuff out quickly. Message boards, we need to keep discussions on topic. To-dos, we need to divvy up or outline and divvy up the work. Files or docs and files, store assets and organize them in folders. Automated questions, when you need to take a regular pulse of your team, and then the schedule, deadlines, milestones, and upcoming events or whatever it is. It's
That's
just
really
like
interesting.
really quick. So
Yeah.
like the actual visual is not, the visual is the representation of what the actual full size visual is, but it's shrunken down because that's not what the important part is. It's like the important part is like there's 6 tools and here's what they're about. That's really what's more important. And then when you get in, you'll go, oh, I recognize that,
Right.
but these are full size now.
Right. It's
That's at
not as
least,
important to hit them with like the high resolution view of what this feature is because you still need to kind of describe what it does
yeah, at this
in
point, like
words.
the picture of it, doesn't matter. Like the picture of each individual thing doesn't matter as much as
Yeah.
the real quick punch of when you'd want to use it, what it's for. Like campfire, we need to hash things out quickly. Okay, that's when I would use that. Message boards, like updates and on-topic discussions, or something. I got to figure out what the right words are, but kind of that's the real full size is the text pitch, and the six tool grid is like the representation that you will understand when you get into the product. You'll go, oh, now I know what those are now, and now they're full size because I don't need the descriptions in front of me all the time. So
Yeah.
at least that's what I'm working on. I'm just working on different versions of that, how to make that work. And so we'll see how that plays. And hey, again, if we end up wanting to do a really like well-produced video at some point, we can do that. But I thought it'd be more interesting to be like, hey, I'm Jason. Thanks for coming in. It's great to have you here. We launched this new product a couple days ago, and I might even make this video. Like, I might think about making a new video every week, which would be really interesting. Like, hey, it's Jason. It's November now. It's November, 2015. We launched Basecamp 3 about a month ago. We've made a bunch of changes so far. Product's getting better and better all the time. So I'm glad you're here now checking it out. Like, I can do some more of that. And I think it's really kind of interesting to think about how you could do timely introductions. It's like walking into a store and the shop owner's like, hey, Jason, how's your family? Or, hey, did you read that thing in the paper? Or did you hear about that building they're putting up down the street? It's like, you can kind of do that sort of stuff when you just make it about that alone.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited about the potential of that.
Yeah. I've been, that's an interesting little tangent. I won't go into this too deep, but it's like, I added this bulk mail feature to High-Rise, and I use it. I mean, the big impetus for adding this, I mean, people were asking for it. I also noticed many people use High-Rise as like this filter mechanism to go into another, bulk mail tool, and then they go through all these hoops to get everything synced together. And it just seems like, man, if we could provide a very simple way to do this, I think we can make a lot of people happier.
Yep.
But I also really wanted this for myself, because I really wanted to talk to the new people signing up. And I've done this in the past with, say, Draft. I've automated sending out a kind of a templatized email that it's friendly. It just says, hey, thanks for signing up. Is there anything I can do to help you? And it's fine, and people have appreciated it, and it's kicked off a lot of neat conversations. But I've taken the approach of, like, right now there is no automation. I think I actually really enjoy it without the automation. It's going to maybe be hard to ever think about adding automation maybe now, because what I've been doing is I go through a list of people that have signed up for High-Rise. I get them all into High-Rise, all the new account owners, and I send them one of these emails that's somewhat templatized, but I make it very current for today.
Right.
So it's a little more contextual. I may even talk about, like, the Bears and how they played this weekend, or I bring up a video of a TED Talk I'm currently watching this week. And then it's just, there's something more interesting about it, because it's real to me. It's something I'm interested in even talking to people about. And so when they email me back, it's like, hey, I'm even more excited to then have that conversation with them, because it's like a real conversation versus just a bunch of bullshit automated emails that are going out. So I love that idea that you're doing. Yeah.
That's the plan. I'm going to do one to start, but I also want to do this internally in the app anyway, like elsewhere. So not just talking to new customers who are being onboarded, but maybe it's like every week. It's like, hey, we're doing the show. You and I are doing the show every day. Like, I can certainly make a 30-second video every week or whatever to give people an update. I think it'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'd love to I want to practice that, because I would love to be as Gary V as possible around that. Like, he can sit in front of a camera and talk and be totally comfortable. I love writing, but I want to get more comfortable with this. And so, and just like, boom, knock something out, record it, upload it, done. Like, that'd be awesome. So anyway,
I'm also interested in I can't wait to see your screenshot of this too, because, like, we've been this has been a challenge of ours too. Like, I'm sick of there's usually only like 2 camps about showing off your product in marketing pages or help pages or whatever, which is like, take a screenshot, and it's usually just completely, one-to-one. This is the
full size or whatever.
Full size, exactly what's happening. Or you go the approach of illustrations for everything. And we've done some of both. Like, we have some nice illustrations on the marketing page. But I've always, like, there's something missing. And you're pointing at something really interesting. I can't wait to see this, because, like, you're doing, like, it's the real thing, but it's a different view of it. It doesn't have to be this abstracted sketch. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I think we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I've been working on it. I can show you something I've been working on. But it's like, actually, let me even see if I have it on this machine, because I could even just show it. I'm just looking here. Yeah, I can show. I mean, this is the true work in progress. So maybe I will actually show this too. We'll see.
Whatever you want.
Anyway, all right. Well, We talked about looking at something in Basecamp 3 called the client side, and I think it'd be fun to show some work, and then talk it over, and I'll give you the idea of where it came from, and it's a radically different approach than anything we've ever done before.
Yeah, and it's something like I'm just personally interested in, like it's about you guys are tackling another, problem of like contacting your clients, and it's obviously something people do in high rise. And so, yeah, like I'm definitely curious about like the lessons you're learning there.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Shaking out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let me just, oops, Hangouts. Share. Let me know when you see it.
I see it.
Let me just make sure it's going out to everybody. Yeah, it looks like it is. You see it again?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So this is actually, I gotta move. Hang on a second. So this is what Basecamp 3 looks like, and I've showed some of this before. This is at least one of the projects that's set up. And by the way, we've actually decided we're going to call these Basecamps. So we're not going to call them projects. So I can talk about that a bit too. By the way, I can't see your face while I'm doing this, so every once in a while I'll just go, "We're here," just to make sure it still works.
Yeah.
Okay. So cool. So this is kind of a normal Basecamp here, right? We've got a few different tools. In this case, we've got 5 things. This is sort of our company intranet. We've got automated questions that go out every week. A message board where we make like big time announcements and stuff like that. Campfire for sort of real time chat. Schedule. And place to keep some sort of generic documents that we need for the business. Now, this is what a standard Basecamp looks like. In fact, there's actually 6 tools. So if I was to go to this one here, actually, I'm going to step back because that's kind of private. Never mind. Anyway, whatever. But so this is where your team works. This is how your team works. And you can, of course, jump into any one of these things here and dive into more detail. But a big segment of our audience are client services firms. This is how we started. This is why we built Basecamp in the first place. And I'm going to actually myself get back into some client work next year so I can actively use this. But we did a lot of interviews last year with customers, and we learned some really interesting things, which is that something comes up a lot is just anxiety when you're dealing with clients. First of all, the relationship is loaded to begin with at some level because they're paying you money for work that you're doing, and they have expectations. They're paying you big money, and your business depends on them. And there's just a little bit of like it's us versus them in some ways. I know people like to work together, and it is a together relationship, but there's a difference there. You often want to like be formal with a client in terms of like you want to send them stuff that you want them to see, but you don't want them to see things they shouldn't see. You don't want them to see how the sausage is made necessarily. You don't want them to see work in progress. You don't want them to see rough ideas. You don't want them to see stuff you're just sort of playing with. You also don't want them to see internal discussions around stuff and strategy and ideas on how to approach a problem, because that's not for their consumption. Like their consumption, they want to see the things that you've created to present to them, right? You follow me so far?
Yep.
Okay. So one of the challenges in Basecamp has always been that, and this is sort of boring, I'm just sitting on this page here. But one of the things that's boring, or it's boring is what I'm showing you right here because I'm not doing anything yet. But one of the tricks has always been we've had these buttons or these ways or these check boxes to hide certain things from clients. So you can say like, hide this from a client. Problem is that it's this tiny little checkbox. And more often than not, people post something that was not for the client's consumption. They forgot to check a box. They didn't even see the box. And now something that shouldn't be seen by the client is now seen by the client. And people get very, very nervous because things go out via email and you don't know what they've seen and when they've seen it. And there's a lot of nerves tied into this, a lot of anxiety. And this is very common across all the sorts of tools that work this way. There's often a way to hide something, but that's not the way to think about this. We've after talking to lots and lots of customers about this, we hit on an insight, which is that a deep insight, which is that you should separate the front of the house and the back of the house. You go to a restaurant, there's a clear separation. There's the front of the house, there's the back of the house. You go to a theater, there's the front of the house and the back of the house. The theater has the back of the house where actors are running around and costume changes and stuff's chaotic and crazy. The front of the house is the presentation. That's what the audience sees.
Yep.
And so the separation is important. They all happen in the same place. A theater, front stage and backstage, like it's still the same place. They're not separate buildings. A restaurant, it's not like the kitchen is not in a separate building. Like it's still the same place, but you want a separation. So we created this thing called the client side, is what we're calling it. And this is what I'm showing you now is a Basecamp that is just for an internal team. But when you set up a Basecamp, you're asked, are you working with a client on this? So let me just take you through a quick sample of that. So all right, let's make a new one. So I'm going to call this like the work in progress example or whatever, right? Okay, next step is add people from my team or from my organization or from my company, and I can check people on or off. In this case, I'm going to turn everyone. I'll leave everyone on. It doesn't matter. The next step is this, which is, hey, do you need to keep a client updated? Are you working with a client? We're still working on the language here, but are you working with a client? Yes or no thanks? Let's say yes, okay? If I say yes, it says who's the client, and then I fill that in and go through this process. And this is fake, so I'm not going to do this, but there's a distinct step. It's like, are you working with a client on this or not? Yes? Okay, great. Who are they? Now, if you say yes and you fill them out, what you end up with is something like this. Just making sure my screen's switching properly. Are you seeing this?
Yeah.
So you're going to see basically 2 tabs at the top of the Basecamp. Talk to your team, and the other tab is talk to the client. And there's a very clear separation between the two, and I'll show you that in a minute. This stuff is stuff for your team only. This is where you keep track of all the loose work and the to-dos. This is where you keep track of all the discussions that you're having internally. There's a campfire to hash things out and throw stuff back and forth rapidly. You might have stuff on the schedule that's more about internal stuff. Docs and files might be things that you aren't ready to show yet, but they're notes. This is all your private, safe stuff. And there's a little note underneath the tab that says the client can't see this, okay? When you want to go talk to the client, it's an express moment. It's like, okay, I have intent now. I'm ready to present something to them. I want to ask them something, or I want to write up an update. Whatever it is, it's time to go talk to the client. So I switch over to this tab, talk to the client. And when I do that, in this case, the client is Rocket Slide. This is a fake sample thing. But when I do that, I get a very simple, different interface. This interface is purely a simple message board, okay? That's all it is. Everything you write here is emailed directly to the client. The client never has to sign up for an account. They never have to log into anything. They don't have to buy into anything. They don't have to install any apps. They don't have to adopt a system. They already know how to use email. On the occasion that I go involve them, I say, send an email to the client. I write it up. It says, who from the client do you want to send this to? So I check them off, and they get it. And then what happens is that, oops, I just hit back or hit the wrong thing here. Just a second here. So what happens is that let me delete this draft here. Okay. So what happens is a message gets posted to the client side message board. Gets emailed to the client. The client just responds to the email. They don't have to log in. They respond to the email. And now that whole conversation is kept on the record, okay? And so everything here, this is all sample data, and it's a mess, of course, but like everything here is a complete and thorough, accurate, official record of every single thing we've said to the client and everything they've said back to us. It's all on the record, all in one place. I don't have to dig for it anywhere else. I know exactly who said what when. And what's cool is, if you go into one of these, we have them very clearly marked. So this was an email I sent to the client. There's a stamp up here. I don't know if it's coming through clearly or not, but it says to the client. If I scroll down, it says from the client. So the client responded. And then down here, we responded again. And so it's staggered. We're kind of staggering it left and right. So we're on the right, they're on the left. We've got stamps that clearly indicate this and that. And the whole conversation is here on the record on the client side. Again, if I want to go back and talk to my team, I go back over here, and now I can chat, and I can add to-dos, and I can post stuff that's internal. This is where the sausage is made. This is backstage. I go over here. This is sort of the front of the house. And what's really neat is that not only can I do it this way, but if a client email, so here's another thing that's happened over the years that we learned about at doing extensive customer interviews, which was that no matter how hard you try to get a client to use something with you, they'll typically just end up emailing you. And here's the thing. That's how it should be. Because if you're in the client services business, your job is to service the client, not to tell them what to do. Like, they're paying you to do work for them. You should not be telling them they have to use this system. And if you want to get in touch with me, you have to go to a system to do it. Just get in touch with me any way you want. And the typical way is email. So what's cool is a client can send you an email. And then if it's important, you can forward it directly into the client side. This is similar to how High-Rise Dropbox works. You forward it directly into the client side, or into Basecamp, basically. It knows which client is tied to which Basecamp and the whole thing. It pops it in the right place. And if this client is working on multiple Basecamps with you, it's going to send you an email back saying, which one did you mean? Click a button, done. It sends it in, and then you can reply from within Basecamp. And now when you reply within Basecamp, all future responses or replies to that email thread are stored in Basecamp. So it started out by a client sending you something on the outside. You thought this was important. You forwarded it to the inside, and now every future reply to that conversation is stored in Basecamp on the client side. So it's like this extremely clean, straightforward, simple distinction, complete full record on the history of all client communications. Clients never see anything they shouldn't see because you expressly go over here and have the intent, I want to go talk to them now. And if they send you something from outside, you can bring it inside and then pick it up on the inside, and then it's stored permanently. The other thing that's really neat is, and I'll stop in a second if you have some questions, but is that occasionally you do want to send something to them from over here. Like, let's say there was some document that you just want to send to them, right? Let's just say, like, I wrote up this document. This is just junk here, but like, I wrote this up and I do want to send this to them, okay? It lives on our side. It doesn't live on their side. How do I get this to them for their approval? Let's go pick something else. Let's go pick a to-do list, for example. Here's a to-do list. And I've got this list made, and I want to make sure that they're cool with it. Like, these are the things that they need, okay? So I go to the share button, and there's now an option, because this is a client. There's a client on this Basecamp. It says send a copy to the client. I hit that. It generates a new email that I'm sending to the client. I can add a personal note here, and then it just embeds the to-do list directly into the email. What's really great about this is that the embedded to-do list is the embedded to-do list at this very moment. This is what I want them to see. I don't want them to see the to-do list an hour from now if I've changed it, because then I don't know what they've seen. But this embeds the exact thing in, decide who gets it, send it off, and then that becomes a message over here on the client side. And now there's a full history of that. And if they reply to that, all the replies are stored here as well. So it's a radically different approach to anything we've ever done. I've never seen anyone else even do anything close to this. And I think it's going to be a really huge deal. And I'm super pumped about it. And it eliminates anxiety. It eliminates fear. It clarifies exactly what you sent to the client and what they've sent back to you. It's all right here, always on the record. So if there's ever a problem down the road, you can always point to something. Like, someone says, I approved it, and you're like, or they said they didn't approve it, and you can go, well, actually, you did approve it right here. Like, I've got it, and then you can send it to them and show it to them. So it's really tight, and I'm particularly excited about it. And
cool.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, when like it's not like I've participated in those client interviews, but you guys, during, I think it was like the last Basecamp meetup, maybe it was 2 meetups ago, I forget when, you had brought in some clients, some Basecamp customers to kind of talk about their experiences using Basecamp. And they even brought it up then about that anxiety about emailing a client and sharing access to their Basecamp with a client. So it's, yeah, I mean, it seems like it's an extremely common scenario. And this is like the perfect separation to, remove that anxiety. And yeah, and I agree. I mean, that anxiety is like critical. And I see it like in other parts now of Basecamp. Like, you guys are doing the drafts now. We've talked about, I think, on a previous episode about, being able to write something and know not everybody's going to see it yet.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're dealing, it's a nice insight that you've picked up, because like when you when we work here, you and me and our own little things, our own little, I don't know, we get to call the shots and stuff. I don't know. It's not always apparent that like a lot of people working in bigger companies or even smaller size companies, as an employee, there is a lot of anxiety of what you look like to your peers and to your bosses and stuff. And so stuff touches like that are very interesting. Those are really good insights.
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting because there's a lot of things that that you think are important, and then there's things that are extremely important that aren't product related things. It's feelings. Like, I'm afraid the client's going to see something they shouldn't. That puts our relationship at jeopardy. And I don't want someone on my side saying something or showing an idea and having the client go, whoa, 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 that's not what but it wasn't a final idea yet. It was just an early idea, right? And so those are really important moments to try and do your best to prevent. As far as, if you're a tool maker, you don't want your tool to encourage behavior that can get people in trouble. And by just having a checkbox that says hide something, it's like it's such a hugely significant moment and a hugely insignificant interface element if you just have a checkbox. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. The interface element is not commensurate with the implications of what might happen if the client sees something that they shouldn't.
Right. And we all know this happens for so many people. This is
super common. I mean, it's just human behavior. It's just the way it is. Now, some people have amazing relationships with their clients, outstanding relationships with their clients, and they don't mind. Like, they don't mind if the client has complete access to the Basecamp. They don't have to use this system. They can just add them to the Basecamp normally. But if you want to, this is sort of the golden path, because this we believe to be the common case, which is that you want to separate the front of the house and the back of the house. You want to keep your stuff in your own place. You don't want to have any fear about saying the wrong thing in the wrong place. You don't want to even have something hanging over your head where you could make a mistake and it could go to someone that shouldn't. Like, that just makes everyone tight and kind of reduces creativity, and it sort of stifles it a bit. So we wanted to eliminate those. There's two things. There's two sides. Your team's safe, the client's where the client is, and everything's good. So
yeah, I dig it.
And this is just the first iteration of this. We have some really, really interesting stuff planned for this. Maybe even later this year, but certainly early next year, that I'm really excited about. This is sort of like V1 of this, which is basically you can send an email off to them and keep them separate and keep communications together. But that's not the whole relationship. So there's more to it than that.
Yep.
But just like anything, this is V1. Wanted to kind of nail this, get it right, and then move on to some other stuff down the road.
Cool. Looks good, dude.
Cool. Let me unshare this. I am screen sharing, and how do I stop doing that? There we go. I think I'm stopped. Am I stopped?
I don't know. There we go.
Wait. I just see like an icon of me. Is my video showing now?
No. Yeah, I just see a black screen of you.
Interesting.
There's
Hang
who knows? Oh, well.
Well, we lost it. Anyway, show's over. So.
Yep.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks for indulging me there.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. Yeah, that's
the reasons we did that. So
it's cool. There's a lot of great insight to take from this about like jobs to be done interviews and like listening for this type of insight. And it's like, well, like what you're showing is like not like this crazy technological feat, but it's a thing that like no one else has, just because like you guys were listening to customers and how they talk about how they use your product. It's great.
Yeah, it's everything outside the product, really. It's the emotion, and that's what drives the decisions in the product. So
yeah,
cool. All right, thanks.
Sure, thanks, dude. Talk to you tomorrow. Everybody,
yep.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and share it with your friends on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. We'd love to get the word out more. Please
join in, please.
Talk to you later.
Later.
Bye.